Hey guys, you're in a nutshell with me, Ina. Itong episode na ito, I just really wanna vent out. Nakaka-frustrate na itong nangyayari, no? Itong sitwasyon ng mga nahuhuli, ng mga kriminal who turns out to be non-citizens, non-PRs, engaged in serious crime, nahuli na, pero hindi pa sila agad-agad mapadeport. Okay, napag-uusapan natin yan in recent episodes, ano? Pero it's really frustrating, and I wanted to share with you this soundbite or portion of a press conference ng Premier ng British Columbia, si Mr. David Eby. And you know, I support what he wants to happen. Basically, he's pointing to, you know, the need to amend immigration laws para hindi naman mabaliwala na lang itong mga police operation going after criminals, right? Okay, I don't know with you guys, but my personal preference is once a non-citizen, you know, commits these serious crime, halimbawa, no, I'm not talking about shoplifting, siguro mapagbibigyan ko pa yan, but we're talking about carjackings. Itong mga extortion na lagi nating napapanood sa balita lately, or if these temporary residents decide to join gangs, mga sindikato involved in like home invasions, shootings, robberies, kailangan mo pa ba talagang pag-isipan kung karapat-dapat pa yan manatili dito sa Canada o hindi? 'Di ba? Unfortunately, as we have been discussing many times also on this channel, talagang masyadong mabait ang batas ng Canada patungkol sa isyong ito. Marami pa rin silang nagagawang paraan para manatili dito, extend their stay. There are mechanisms. We've seen cases wherein nirereklamo na parang binabaan pa yung sentensya sa kanila para ma-accommodate ang kanilang future in potentially becoming PRs. 'Di ba? Sangka pa? Ano ba naman? Sobrang bait talaga ng Canada. But it's not something I like seeing, no. Gusto ko rin ng paghihigpit sa aspetong 'yan. Okay? So ipe-play ko po itong a portion of a press conference of Premier David Eby. Feel na feel ko ang kanyang frustration kasi nga naman nakakagulo na sa ilang bahagi ng kanyang probinsya, nahuhuli na nga, pero kumbaga tali ang kamay when it comes to actually deporting these criminals. Diba? Kasi ang nangyayari guys, so nahuli, biglang nakiklaim ba naman ng asylum at walang choice pa, at lumalabas parang walang choice itong mga otoridad kundi hayaan yung proseso to take place. Let the asylum claim hearings take place, and that takes a lot of time. Diba? O sige, pakinggan na natin to. No? Sabi ni Eby, absolutely ludicrous. Okay, itong sitwasyon na ito. Canada's immigration laws interfering with criminal deportations.
You mentioned changing immigration and deportation laws. How are those, as they stand, problematic? Like, what are you seeing?
Well, the biggest change, and I think the one that that really caused a lot of people, myself included, to wonder about the nature of these loopholes and how corrosive they are to public confidence in our immigration system was the example of two people being arrested here as temporary residents, then claiming refugee status after they were arrested. And instead of being deported, then being allowed to stay on in the country and have a full refugee hearing. Now, I am grateful to Immigration Refugee Protection administrators and others who appear to be expediting this as quickly as possible to be able to address it. But the idea is ludicrous that somebody involved in functionally, from my perspective, a terror attack in our community that is ongoing is allowed to claim the benefits of refugee status in our country in out of concern being returned to the world's largest democracy, India. Like, this is absolutely ludicrous.
Oh, siya nagsabi So, obviously, ang involved dito, yung nahuli sigurong dalawa na temporary status, ay galing India.
And so Bill C-12 closes that loophole. The other piece that we've been frustrated by in terms of rules around the Immigration Refugee Protection Act is there are individuals who have been identified who have been as being involved in some way, who have been deported by CBSA, Canadian Border Services Agency. And Canadian Border Services Agency is not identifying these individuals to the community. And the reason why, and they're citing privacy laws as being a barrier to them being able to do that. The reason why this is problematic is if you have someone who is alleged to be involved in these criminal activities, you know who they are. When you release their picture and their name, the community is able to say, oh, I saw that person associating with someone else. They were closely associated with this address in our community. They were involved particularly with this business over here. This is an investigative lead for you to pursue.
O, tignan nyo guys, no? Ganong kabait ang batas ng Canada. Meron nang naipa-deport kasi tumutulong yata sa mga ganitong uri ng krimen. Current laws prohibit officials from releasing their photos. May privacy laws daw. Ano ba naman, di ba? Nakita nyo? Tama si Premier Evie, no? By posting and publicizing the faces of these criminals, di ba? Maaaring makatulong yan. Because the people will see, ito ba yung kapitbahay ko to? Alam mo, nakikita ko siya lagi dito. O baka meron pang ibang information na lumitaw pag ma-identify ang mga yan. Right? Protect their privacy after committing these crimes. Di ba naman? Ay, nako. And, alam mo, it might be happening like in BC. At meron na rin mga reports of these extortion activities in Ontario, in Manitoba, in Alberta. Ba kailangan nang gawa ng paraan talaga to, guys? If not, all these people involved here will just be more emboldened to carry out these criminal activities, right? Hindi naman pala sila mapapaalis ng ganun-ganun lang eh. Diba? For I will give you another case pala ha. Yan, ito naman, okay? Ano rin to, in the news over the past few days. This is a man from Guelph. Repeat offender na siya ha. Sexual assault or parang ganyan ang kanyang kaso. Ilang beses na siyang naaresto, pinalaya, Okay? His last arrest happened, I think, a couple of days ago. And then 2 hours later, he apparently violated his condition for his release. Nahuli na naman. Inaresto na naman. Okay? So, ito tanin niyo itong report. High-risk offender rearrested 2 hours after being released from custody. Itong mamang to. Okay? A 36-year-old who has a violent past was released from custody after pleading guilty, then promptly rearrested for breaching his conditions. Ang violate pala niya, he was ordered to stay away from a specific address, pero pinuntahan niya agad. So talagang dangerous na ito, no? Kung meron siyang biktima, talagang wala siyang pakialam kahit i-release mo, babalikan ka niya. Okay, so obviously, talaga yung tendency niya is to repeat the offenses that he has made. Sabi dito, he poses a risk to people, particularly women, as he has a history of violence, including 2 stranger sexual assaults. Okay? So ano nangyari? Nahuli na ng polis. Maliban sa mahinang bail laws na meron tayo dito na kaya siya nakakalabas lagi. Alamin natin, ano ba ang status din niya? Pwede bang ipa-deport ito? Well, according to this article from the Toronto Sun, bago lang po itong article na ito, no? Apparently, this guy is a refugee. Okay? Sabi dito, meron daw, according to the source of Toronto Sun, may deportation order. Pero dahil siya isang protected person, hindi raw po pala siya agad-agad rin mapapa-deport. O, diba? Napakabait talaga masyado ng Canada. Okay, ayun no. There is a deportation order on Guelph sex offender, sabi dito. He is a sponsored refugee from Eritrea. Okay, Eritrea? Naku, ngayon ko lang narinig tong bansan to, Eritrea? Apparently, okay, nung binasa ko tong report na ito, kapag isang refugee daw pala ay nag-commit ng crime, and when that crime, could lead to a deportation order, the process is also not that simple. Kasi nga refugee siya diba? Usually, ikaw ay nagiging isang refugee, tinatanggap ka ng Canada kasi you are being persecuted dun sa home country mo or merong sitwasyon dun na maaring na ikapahamak mo kung ikaw ay bumalik dun. Okay? So there is another lengthy process that needs to be done before the likes of this person gets deported. Kailangan raw pala kumuha ng isang tinatawag na danger opinion. O, ngayon ko lang din to nalaman, ano. According to this, ayan, no. This is from the official site of the DOJ, Department of Justice sa Canada, no. Ayan, danger opinion. If a protected person or convention refugee is the subject of a deportation order, they cannot be removed because of the principle of non-refoulement. Okay, yun yung hindi mo nga pwede agad ibalik yung refugee na yan kung saan siya nanggaling. So ano ang magiging remedy according to this post from, again, the DOJ, no? If individuals are found inadmissible to Canada but their protected person or refugee status was not vacated or seized, these individuals cannot be removed unless the CBSA obtains a danger opinion from the Minister of Citizenship and Immigration prior to removal. Ang danger opinion daw, it assesses if an individual poses a considerable risk to the Canadian public that they must be removed. Okay, ang tanong, ano, sana naman mabilis-bilis ito. Gaano kabilis kaya ba ang prosesong yan? O, diba? Napakabait talaga masyado ng Canada. What do you guys think about this? Do you have concerns about this? By the way, baka meron tayong mga kababayan who are living in the cities, towns wherein these extortion activities are happening. Please share with me your stories down there in the comment section, no? Ang napanood ko rin dun sa press conference ni Premier EB, parang kinakwento niya na talagang yung mga kilalang kumikita ng malalaki, ganyan, yung mga top realtors daw, for example, dun sa kanila, natatakot ng lumabas ng kanilang mga bahay. Kasi nga baka sila ay biglang pagka-interesan nitong mga extortionists na ito. Okay. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. As always, I look forward to reading your comments. I'll end this episode here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!